Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending our lightning round talk on building an AI information literacy module for introductory human geography. My name is Stephen Craig Finlay. I'm the Open Educational Resources and STEM librarian at Dr. CC and Mabel L. Chris Library at University of Nebraska at Omaha.
Hi, everyone. I'm Karen Falconer El-Hindi, professor in the Department of Geography and Geology at UNO. So, we had previously worked together on some open educational resources projects. These included a conversion that was funded through the library's Affordable Content Grants program and convening a panel of geography and geology faculty about OER for an Open Education Week event.
We've also worked through the department here in the library, through the geography department a lot. I think through our portable content grants, we've worked with the geography department, I think more than any other department, as far as individual grants. The grants cover conversion to either what we call low cost or no materials cost materials. So the geography department has always been highly engaged in this area. And through the relationships that we've developed there and through the relationships that I developed with Karen, we've been able to, I think, grow into other areas of collaboration, which is, I think, another benefit of OER that I like to try to get across to people is that when you're collaborating, when you're developing things in OER, you're developing a valuable and a positive working relationship that can pay dividends in other areas down the line. You can make things and you can build things together. It doesn't have to only be about, you find and you implement these materials in a class. You can keep working on other things and you can really kind of develop an ongoing relationship.
So, within the Department of Geography and Geology, we had a number of conversations during which a number of different concerns about artificial intelligence were raised, specifically around ethics and what's an instructor or professor concerned with ethics and best practices to do in the face of AI, and what about the impact on teaching and learning and all the different forms that that can take.
Yeah, and of course, in the library, we're having those conversations all the time about information literacy, and um, the ACRL framework for information literacy, things like the sudden appearance of AI research assistants that we're seeing in our online databases, our impact on library instruction efforts. It's the sudden disruptive technology that's here. Everyone's using it, and it's evolving extremely quickly. And people's responses to it are ranging from just sort of like unrestrained and wholehearted sort of cheerleading to, we're just going to uh, kind of like plug our ears and ban it, right? And I don't think either of those is particularly healthy. So we kind of agreed that we approve of kind of a more middle road of kind of measured investigation and engagement and discovery. So that um, takes the form of looking at common faculty and student concerns in a lot of ways. I think a lot of faculty and student concerns when it comes to AI actually have common solutions. If faculty are concerned that their students are going to be cheating with AI, students are equally concerned that they're going to be accused of cheating. Um, if the faculty are concerned that, okay, well, how am I supposed to, um, you know, run my class now? How do I do papers? How do I do assignments? The students uh, are concerned about, you know, if I use AI, what's considered permissible use and what's not considered permissible use. When they see some people using it, when they see some faculty using it, when they see some faculty on committees or university teams for implementation. And so what we came up with was a kind of a desire to try to develop a module that would initially sort of emphasize clear communication, clear guidelines, and transparency in work. So everyone's on the same page, and both of these kind of areas of concerns could theoretically be addressed at the same time. So based on this idea that students are using AI, that they're going to continue to, and of course, faculty are also using AI and are going to continue to. If we don't teach, if we don't try to promote, these ideals of ethical, responsible, good AI use, then effectively, then we could be running the risk of ensuring the continuation of the ways of using AI that we most fear, right? Um, if we think of broadly, sort of like the good way to use AIs, which is, one, obviously keeping the human at the center of the enterprise and improving human creations and making our lives easier. And then broadly, kind of these bad ways of using AI, which is just to do our work for us. Um, it's not necessarily intuitive to students using AI, the difference. And so if we need to teach this, then our options are to, tell students, you know, don't use it in the bad way, right? And take my word for it, or show them. And so we wanted to develop a module which integrated AI use, but did so in a way that demonstrated to students this idea of responsible, ethical, human-centered AI use. Um, and with that idea, we just needed to find a suitable assignment.
And I have long required short essays of my Introduction to Human Geography students. Um, I call these the geographical lens essay assignment, and the goal is to help students discover what really interests them about human geography. Students write 4 essays throughout the semester on class-related topics that they choose. The assignment encourages and indeed requires them to look for connections to other sources of information in their own lives. So the essays require students to formulate a research question, develop an argument, to reflect on what they are finding and thinking about. They need to find supporting evidence for the points they're making, and they need to cite their sources.
So in doing so, and the internal grant support was really coincidental. I had just seen an announcement come through. I think it was over an internal email announcement, but the AI Innovation Lab here was announcing some course development grants. And there were tiers for course level development and module level development, and I think assignment level development. So we applied for a module level development court grant that we split. It was from our Division of Innovative and Learning Centric Initiatives. It came with um, a uh, a small monetary stipend and an instructional designer, which was amazing. I think we both now recommend that if anyone ever has the opportunity to develop anything in their course with a professional instructional designer, please do so. They make everything much easier. They really know what they're doing. It also came with um, us getting our Chat GPT enterprise accounts, and then the students gaining accounts as well, which was, of course, central to the assignment in showing work was that when students were doing the assignment and using these prescribed prompts that both told the AI what to do and what not to do, then they would also show their work by providing a link to the chat as they're doing these sort of these a series of essays.
So, with instructions to keep their work in single chats, students are given prescribed prompts, which give the AI instructions both on what to do and, equally important, what not to do. And so you can see here on this slide, it's very detailed and prescriptive. then students supply me as the instructor with a link to that chat at the conclusion of their geographical lens essay.
Yeah, so we really wanted to avoid AI really just kind of wants to always offer to do the next thing for you. It wants to draft ideas for research questions. I can help you draft the introduction. I can help you do this. Do you want me to help? And so, equally important to asking it what to do is putting up these guardrails. Um, and we found it works surprisingly well. It will listen to you since it wants to please you. It's also receptive to wanting to do what you say in terms of obeying you in doing what you tell it not to do.
So we piloted this module in the spring semester, the semester just ending now, and we found surprisingly that many students reported they had no desire to use artificial intelligence on this assignment. Um, so AI use was optional. We thought students were going to use it, but about two-thirds of them reported that they did not use it, and they offered some pretty interesting reasons for why.
Yeah, so that was unexpected. We just kind of assumed, and of course, we're not mind readers, none of us are, but we thought, it's like, okay, here's the option to use AI, and we just kind of thought, students would see this as it would make things easier, and based on feedback that Karen had received from some students in previous semesters that, students were sometimes having difficulty coming up with main ideas and coming up with essay ideas, that they would be enthusiastic about this. But in fact, a lot of students were responding to the effect of, I don't need to use AI. I can come up with my own ideas. I can do it myself. Now, we don't know if, some people I talked to were like, what if that's just what they think we want to hear? As if we're laying some kind of trap or something. I don't know. So I that's going to be a thing that we're going to need to drill in down into later. Next semester, it's in person. So actually, for one of the classes, we're going to swap out. I'm going to visit in person so I can have that conversation one-on-one without Karen present and really try to get some better feedback because again, any sort of implementation and development like this, of course, needs to happen iteratively over multiple semesters. So the next iteration of the module, fall 2026, um, and then continuing on from there. And then Karen, do you want to talk about developing it for the upper level course?
Sure. So we're excited to involve students more in the use of AI and a research-based assignment versus a more of a reflective assignment at the lower division. Um, we're curious to see if students will embrace the option to use AI or not. Um, and we see this as further diversification of our collaboration together.
So on the next slide, which we'll just go ahead and progress to now. So this is an ongoing project. Um, Head here, and this QR code, it takes you to a Google Doc. This is where we're going to be putting up each iteration of the instructional materials, including the prompts, our kind of instructor resources, any assessment materials that we're gathering, guides, right? So we're going to be publishing these each semester of the Creative Commons license. Please let us know if you adopt any of it in your own courses. There'll be a internal link to a Google form as well, where you can let us know if you're adopting it, or you can leave us feedback as well. We really would like to see this used and to see what kind of impact it can have, and if it can sort of help promote this kind of information literacy. So that's all of our time for today. Thank you so much for attending. We hope to hear from you. We hope you found it valuable. Thank you.